Start by asking everybody to please, please, please turn off their cell phones. I want to see everybody turn off their cell phones. And while you're doing that, I will tell you the format for the evening, and then I will introduce our speakers. Debbie, those of you who all know, is really a Yeki. So Debbie wanted to start on time. She did not want a program that was too long, which is very good. I always tell my journalism students, less is more. So, it is really a terrific honor for me to be here today. Debbie, as I feel like everybody knows Debbie, I don't even need to introduce her, but I'll say it anyway. Debbie is one of the smartest and one of the nicest people that I know.
Amen.
Debbie has also been my chavruta for the past 30 years. We started when we were 5. But let's talk about the book. Yedidya, where we're sitting tonight, plays a prominent role in the book. That's all I'm going to tell you. If you want to read more, you're going to have to buy it downstairs afterwards. Okay, I'll say that again. And the book, I've known Debbie, as I said, for 30 years. And yet when I read the book, I learned things about Debbie that I didn't know. As you know, it's a memoir. Somebody just took my copy. And it's entitled Memoirs of a Hopeful Pessimist, which Debbie will talk about a little bit at the end. It is quite readable, and it's more than a story about Debbie and her life. It's a story about Israel and how Israel has changed over the past 30 years. Now, for the program, I'm going to introduce all of the speakers now so that I don't have to keep running out in between. And our first speaker will be Dr. Yoni Moss, who has wide-ranging scholarly interests, and he specializes in the social and theological aspects of Christianity in late antiquity, and he knows 12 languages. After Yoni, we will have a musical interlude. We will have the stylings of Judy, Debbie's sister, who is a singer and songwriter and terrific. Then we will have Nomi Stahl, who is a Swedish blogger, a former chief of Yedidya, and one of the world's busiest volunteer activists, and she knows at least 4 languages. Now, don't we all look stupid? After Nomi, Debbie will speak, I will wrap it up, and then we will all go downstairs and have cookies. Does that sound like a good program? And we'll begin. Yeah.
Growing up in this neighborhood in the 1980s, Dr. Debbie Weissman had always seemed a very important and imposing figure to me. Since I moved back to this neighborhood some 3 years ago after completing a degree in religious studies in the U.S., my childhood memories repeatedly have been confirmed. It has several times happened at various academic cocktail parties, whether Israel, Europe, or the U.S., that when it emerges that I pray at Yedidya, people say, "Oh, Debbie Weissman's synagogue." I have had the honor of getting to know Debbie personally over the past few years. We've collaborated on various projects, both at Yedidya and out in the world. Yiddish events, the Alafai Mihad Committee, Jewish-Christian rainbow events, and more. The better I get to know her, the more, and now I feel that I really know her very well, having just read a memoir, the more I realize that my childhood impressions were correct. Debbie is a very important person, even if maybe somewhat less imposing than I had thought back then. Debbie dedicates her book to memory. When I first received the book, which she sent me in galley-proof format in advance of its final publication, I thought the 3 words dedicated to memory on page 3 of the book. I'll show you. can't see, that's what it says, dedicated to memory. I thought these words were a typo. Surely it was meant to be dedicated to the memory of someone. But as I read further, I understood that this was no typo. It was an essential part of the book. All of you who read the book will see Debbie conceived her text around the notion of memory, in both senses of that word. Past remembrances, zichronot, from her life so far, which sustain the stories she tells, and memory, zecher, that will remain of her and of these stories in the future as the result of their textual recollection. Clearly, impressive memory power was required for the accomplishment of this task. It is no wonder that Debbie, as it emerges from chapter 9 of the book, was, at a certain point in her life, a serial quiz show participant, making several $1,000s in the process. Memory does indeed play a key role in Debbie's book. But why is this news? Aren't all memoirs and indeed autobiographies founded on memory? That is the very meaning of the French word from which our term memoir is borrowed. This is true. But in Debbie's book, memory functions differently, I would argue, than it does in many other instances of the genre. There is a famous church father named Maximus the Confessor, who lived in the 7th century. In the course of a beautiful text entitled 400 Chapters on Love, Maximus writes the following enigmatic line. Quote, "The battle against memories is more difficult than the battle against deeds." What did Maximus mean by this? Deeds refers to sinful acts which we strive to avoid. But why must memories be sinful? And why ought one battle against them? Historians of the cultural function of memory explain that in the ascetic tradition to which Maximus belonged and contributed, personal memories were associated with one's past life prior to ascetic conversion. These memories distracted the monk from his or her religious vocation. In order to overcome these distractions, the ascetic cultivates an alternative spiritual memory shaped by tradition. He or she does this through engaging in acts of prayer, reading, and liturgy. This is why monastic orders can be said to be called orders. They transform the chaos of the world and the randomness of personal biography into the ordered and predictable sequence of liturgical and meditational patterns. Any reader of the Memoirs of a Hopeful Pessimist will quickly see that its author is no ascetic. I direct you, for example, to chapter 20, entitled More on Food. In the course of a critique of vegetarianism and veganism, the author writes, quote, "If I could think of a way in which to become even more carnivorous, I would do so." End quote. I'm not going to read you what comes next, but it's, yeah. I can't read it out loud. It's not for this guy. Unlike Maximus's ascetic tradition, Memoirs of a Hopeful Pessimist does not consider personal memories inimical to spiritual growth. On the contrary, Debbie Weissman places her biographical recollections at the heart of her spiritual, religious, and ideological project. In contrast to other memoirs, which merely tell a story of one's life, this memoir uses the stories to convey its author's values, which themselves were distilled to a large degree from the very experience of living these stories. In keeping with the feminist realization that the personal is political, a line also quoted in the book, Debbie Weissman choreographs her personal memories into a graceful argument for the collective ideals she has fought for all her adult life. Jewish education, Zionism, Jewish community, interreligious dialogue, Jewish feminism, and Israeli-Palestinian peace and justice. Perhaps the most beautiful illustration of the book's interplay between the personal memory and the enactment of the collective ideal is the case of Shabbat. Debbie's book is riddled with memories of Shabbat experiences, from young Judea to her student years, to anti-Vietnam protests in Washington, to Jerusalem, to observing Shabbat at various conferences and interreligious dialogues in many, many different countries across the world.